Today on Good Morning Maine, an employee at Speedway 95 is injured after getting struck by a race car.
Plus, the search continues for an armed and dangerous man in Augusta.
And people gather in Bangor to remember the life of Charlie Howard and his legacy, which lives on today. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us on this Monday morning. We'll have those stories coming up in just a few moments. Everybody's probably a little tired after the long holiday weekend. It was a great weekend too. Had lots of things going on around here.
Yeah.
Hopefully you had a good time too.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Today, it looks like it will continue as well if people want to have a little more summer fun. Going to be a beautiful sunny summer day out there. Temperatures getting up into the 80s. And then we'll be watching for rain the rest of the week. Not a big washout, though.
Here's Conrad Zapinski with the forecast.
All right, our first weather this morning is brought to you by SR1 Companies. Visit SR1 in Herman, Turner, Manchester, and Orono for the best prices on trailers, campers, tractors, heavy equipment, and more. SR1 Companies, where New England's largest selection meets unbeatable prices. Wow, a pretty good start to the day out there. And hopefully, folks had a wonderful 4th of July weekend. We did see temperatures, for the most part, back in the 80s, and it just felt nice and pleasant for today. Get ready, an abundant amount of sunshine will be back in the forecast. I feel pretty comfortable as well. And then dew points will start to rise by Wednesday morning, especially by Friday morning. Look at that. We are going to see dew points a little bit higher up, pretty much at that very humid level. So for that one day, it's going to feel extremely humid, of course, with some rain showers in the area. And we're talking a lot of rain on the way as well. But that's going to be after today. Now the wind's pretty calm. A couple of spots are maybe around a 5-mile-per-hour breeze. Other than that, everywhere else we're seeing a calm wind, and we will continue to see just a light breeze throughout the day today. Now it's going to be hot and sunny. Perfect combination for a very high UV index, and that's going to be at a 9. So please be careful out there, stay protected, put on your sunscreen, and of course drink your water. For today though, mostly sunny out there. It's going to be hot. Temperatures around 88 degrees. For tonight though, partly cloudy, some fog in the area once again. Temperatures back in those mid 60s. Now for tomorrow though, mid to upper 80s. Afternoon chances of showers and even a couple of thunderstorms embedded in there as well. Now hour by hour forecast is showing that big warm up on the way later on today.
Thank you, Conrad. We'll get another check of that forecast a little later on. Well, a track worker was sent flying into the infield after being hit on the track yesterday at Speedway 95 during races. Please be advised this footage may not be suitable for all viewers. A spectator caught a video of what appears to be a yellow flag being waved, followed by an employee driving onto the track in a four-wheeler in the immediate path of an oncoming race car. After the hit, a handful of vehicles not being used in the race rushed to the scene to provide aid. The victim's father posted on social media that his son is 19 years old and suffered a broken foot. We'll have more details as they become available.
Meanwhile, one person has died after crashing head-on into another driver who was allegedly driving under the influence in Gray. On Saturday at around 11:26 p.m., the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office says they responded to the area of Portland Road and Sugar Maple Road for multiple reports of a head-on motor vehicle crash. An investigation determined that 43-year-old Jean Neshamayana, I can't pronounce his name, sorry about that, of South Portland crashed into a Chevy Suburban that was traveling the opposite direction on the road. The driver of the Suburban suffered life-threatening injuries and died at the scene of the crash. The deceased identity is not being released at this time. 2 juvenile occupants of the Suburban also suffered non-life-threatening injuries and were transported to Maine Medical Center. He was arrested on charges of manslaughter and operating under the influence and is now being held in the Cumberland County Jail with other criminal charges likely forthcoming. The cause of the crash is still under investigation, but speed and alcohol do appear to be factors.
A man from Parsonsfield is accused of crashing into a home and then trying to flee from the scene. State police were called to Route 160 after people reported an abandoned pickup truck and a boat along the roadway. They later learned the driver had crashed the vehicle into a garage and a parked vehicle at a home before taking off. Police say the driver left a trail of debris, including the 12-foot aluminum boat, before one of the truck's tires became shredded. That's when officials say the driver fled from the scene. 23-year-old Joshua Hermans was later identified as the driver and is now facing a number of charges, including leaving the scene of an accident. Neither Hermans or the home's residents were injured.
Augusta police are still searching for a domestic violence suspect considered armed and dangerous. Their search Friday night led to an hours-long shelter-in-place order for a section of Riverside Drive. That order has now been lifted, and Asia Reed breaks down what we know about the suspect and how neighbors are reacting.
At 1 p.m. Friday night, Augusta police say they were called to the 400 block of Riverside Drive for a domestic assault Friday afternoon. The suspect is 40-year-old Augusta resident Justin Larrabee. Police say Larrabee displayed a firearm and made threats to his family. They say he left before police arrived and remains on the run. Officials say do not approach him or attempt to detain him. If you see him, call the police. During the shelter-in-place Friday night, parts of Riverside Drive were blocked off. John Stovall works at a group home 2 miles away.
I've been waiting for probably about 3 hours now trying to get to work.
Stovall was one of more than a dozen people stuck waiting at a nearby gas station for the shelter-in-place to be lifted.
No, I don't know why. I don't know. Only speculation. Everybody's speculating, but you don't really know what's going on.
He's not the only one with unanswered questions. Many people commented on the Augusta Police Department and city Facebook pages expressing concerns. Some question why they received a shelter-in-place message hours after the police knew about the situation. One person writing, "So the best time to alert the public about an armed and dangerous man is at midnight. Around 1 p.m. the department knew of this threat to the public, and the department waited until midnight to alert the public. Shame on this department. We deserve better." Another comment read, "Will it be cleared by 2? I have to get home to my 81-year-old grandma with dementia. I tried around 1 and they wouldn't let me." Police say Larrabee's vehicle has been found, but didn't say where, which others questioned on social media. We asked to speak with the police chief about these questions, but haven't heard back.
40 years ago yesterday, a young man named Charlie Howard was the victim of a hate crime in Bangor that shook the community. Sunday was the anniversary of his death, and dozens gathered along the stream where he drowned to honor his short life and reflect on the impact it made for the LGBTQ+ community. Our Grace Blanchard has the story.
Members of the community were seen marching down the streets of downtown Bangor from the Hammond Street Congregational Church and Unitarian Universalist Society of Bangor to honor the life and death of Charlie Howard.
That incident shocked not only any of us who were not violent people, but also it put it was a news that went from end of California to Maine.
40 years ago, when Howard was just 23 years old, 3 teenagers threw him into the Kentuskeg stream for being an openly gay man.
Charlie should have been able to walk down the street that night, that day, and any one of us should have been able to walk down any street in Maine.
Now, each year on the anniversary of Charlie's murder, the community gathers at his memorial to reflect on the impact of his death.
It took Charlie's death to snap everybody out of what was going on in a time that was still pretty tough for gay people.
Even though it didn't touch us specifically, and this happened actually even before I was even alive, it still is trickling down the effect.
Organizers say it's important to recognize that although much has changed since then, there is still more progress to be made.
That's exactly the message. Not fear, not retreating, not panic, but just awareness that the fight is always ongoing and each generation has to pick up that mantle for rights for all of us.
As I grow up and as my mom grows up, that hopefully a lot more positivity can go into the LGBTQIA community and less judgment and more understanding people.
In Bangor, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
In other news, multiple people are now facing charges after an alleged violent robbery in Herman. Authorities are just now releasing details about the incident, which took place in the early morning hours of June 23rd. The Penobscot County Sheriff's Office responded to Union Street in Herman, where they found a man with extensive injuries. They say he had been robbed and attacked by known associates. Deputies later detained 3 suspects at the Holiday Inn on the Audlin Road in Bangor. During the investigation, deputies discovered multiple bags of crack cocaine as well as other evidence. 45-year-old Tori Kindred, 47-year-old Thomas Pope, and 35-year-old Amanda Allard were each arrested and are now charged with robbery. Additional charges are expected in the case.
What should have been a night of celebration turned into a scary moment for a local family when their 6-year-old boy was struck by a stray firework. It happened near the Brewer waterfront before the city of Bangor's official fireworks show kicked off. Our Doug Banks sat down with the child and his mother and shares their story.
This is the firework on my head.
Sarah Gabert, her 6-year-old son Gabe Rideout, and their family were sitting along the Brewer waterfront waiting for the Bangor 4th of July fireworks show to begin. According to Gabert, a man not affiliated with the show started setting off fireworks on the waterfront rocks.
He didn't alert anyone he was going to do it. He just lit off a very large firework. It fell over, and when that happened, it kicked back and shot into Gabe's head. The man didn't say sorry, and no one really helped out either.
I got hit by a firework. It hit me in the head, and Mom and Dad just going around me.
Gabert says they immediately rushed Gabe to the hospital, where he was diagnosed with a concussion. She says they plan on filing a police report and will be following up with Gabe's primary care physician.
We're grateful he's okay, and we do understand that that was an accident, that he didn't mean to do that, but an apology would have gone a really long way. And at this point, we just don't want it to happen to anybody else.
As for Gabe, his mother says the incident won't deter him from attending next year's show.
How many thumbs up are you feeling? 2. Good.
Reporting for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News, I'm Doug Banks.
He's doing okay. Well, a new hub to help municipal and county entities decide how to spend their cut of the state's opioid settlement money is now being created. According to the Maine Attorney General's office, they have signed a $2.5 million contract with the University of Southern Maine's Catherine Cutler Institute. It will help support the development of a new resource center to help the state's 39 counties, cities, and towns that are set to receive around $66 million in opioid settlement funds over the next 18 years. They'll get some guidance on how to spend that money.
Navigating available resources for farmers exposed to PFAS can be a complex maze of government bureaucracy. Our Augusta reporter Corey Bichard spoke with the director of a new program hoping to provide answers to those who need them most.
PFAS, like other things, people are just overwhelmed by it. It's a crisis.
Lucy West is the director of the Maine PFAS Navigator Program, a 5-year, $340,000 collaboration between the Department of Agriculture, Conservation, and Forestry and the University of Maine Cooperative Extension.
So these navigators, the idea is they're not going to have answers, but they're going to be able to provide information and resources who will have those answers. And
West says the navigators will help with a wide variety of topics.
From the technical side of farming, whether they're dairy or vegetable or those other areas of agriculture, it might be medical or mental health because, right, this isn't just affecting plants and animals, it's affecting people. And there's other areas like soil testing and just trying to determine is there PFAS and how much is there?
According to West, navigators will also be there, even just as a listening ear.
It's the idea of what do you want to tackle first, right? That smaller bite of the elephant, because this is overwhelming. There's a lot of action steps to take. It isn't just farmers who are concerned about it. It's everybody. They want to know what it is and if it's affecting them or their families or their home gardens. And so there are some resources.
In Augusta, I'm Corey Bichard for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Fairly devastating to Maine farmers.
Oh, incredibly.
Yep. All right, the time now is 8:14. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, the Bangor Sidewalk Art Festival returned in a big way, bringing street vendors and artists alike to downtown.
We'll take you there as well, but first another check of the forecast. A beautiful day ahead today, mostly sunny and hot with temperatures up around 88 degrees. Tonight, partly cloudy with areas of patchy fog, lows dropping down to the mid-60s. Tomorrow, a chance of rain, maybe some thunderstorms in the afternoon. The highs on Tuesday around 87. We'll be right back.
Stay connected to stay healthy. Stay connected to stay covered. For all of us who are Maine Care members, changes are happening. Don't go without health insurance. Update your information at mymainconnection.gov by scanning the QR code on your screen. Don't wait. Maine Care reviews will be completed by October 31st. Join over 300,000 Mainers who have already renewed their coverage. Just update your information by scanning the QR code on your screen or visiting mymainconnection.gov.
I was hurt in a bad motorcycle accident. I tried to handle it on my own, but I could tell quickly I was in way over my head. The other driver's insurance company was very difficult to work with. That's why I decided to call Joe. Smartest move I ever made. I went from being completely overwhelmed with doctor's appointments and medical bills to feeling normal again. Joe Bornstein's office took care of everything. I was completely satisfied with the outcome, and I wish I'd called sooner.
Call Joe today for a free case evaluation. There's never a fee unless you win.
Make your boating experience even better with a Shoremaster boat lift from Hammond Lumber Company. One of the best choices you can make to protect your boat and maintain your boating lifestyle. A Shoremaster boat lift makes cleaning your boat easier and provides more convenient access too. Hammond Lumber has all the accessories you need, from lighting packages and canopies to motor systems, including Shoremaster's exclusive Whisper Winch. Take your boating experience to the next level with a Shoremaster boat lift from Hammond Lumber Company.
Come for the fun.
Coffee?
You know we have like another half hour.
I'm gonna celebrate every time.
Not the art.
Chili Willy. Raven's really good at guessing, but this is gonna be her biggest challenge yet.
Pictionary.
Moana. We were looking for, obviously, Bugs Bunny. Let me just say, Deb, that's all, folks.
Every weekday.
Weekdays at 10 on Fox 22.
Welcome back, everyone. After nearly 6 years in operation, a downtown Bangor business is closing its doors. Queen City Cinema Club is shutting down. The owners posted the news on Facebook on Sunday. A portion of the post reads in part, quote, "We gave it absolutely everything we had. We made great friends, had great times, and saw some great bands. But now it's time for us to give back to ourselves and stop sacrificing our physical and mental health on a daily basis." We reached out to the owners, and they say the closure is effective immediately.
And another Bangor business is saying goodbye. A beloved gift shop in the city closed its doors Saturday after almost 40 years. Our Callie Warren takes us to Rebecca's.
Rebecca's Gift Shop has occupied space at 43 and 45 Main Street in Bangor for decades. But on Saturday, the owners of the store will close the doors for one last time as they prepare for retirement. Rebecca's opened in 1985 as a shop selling handmade goods and Christmas artifacts year-round. Employees say it's hard to bid farewell.
You know, everything has to come to an end, I guess, and this is definitely an end of an era.
Almost everything in the store is on sale, and as items disappear from the shelves, customers reminisce on a community pillar.
I'm happy for them. They're going to go have a happy retirement, I hope, and they are leaving us with a big hole in our hearts.
For the titular Rebecca herself, who co-owns the store with her husband, it's a bittersweet end to a long-running chapter.
We don't look like we used to look. Before Rebecca's Gift Shop and after Rebecca's Gift Shop. Hello.
She says the hardest goodbye is to the shop's longtime clientele, who owners have come to view as close friends.
To our clientele and customers, just a huge, huge thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We wouldn't have been here this long without them. They really have become friends.
In Bangor, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Meanwhile, local artists took to the streets of Bangor on Saturday for the city's annual Sidewalk Art Festival. Our Callie Warren also has that story.
Dancing, live music, and handmade goods were the central focus of Bangor's Sidewalk Art Festival. And over 100 vendors lined the streets to offer handcrafted pieces from jewelry to fiber art.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. The event serves as a way to get the Bangor community immersed in the local arts scene while supporting small businesses and nearby artisans.
To come to this festival just to enjoy your community, enjoy downtown Bangor, the space, and all the art that's being created today. It's amazing. I love seeing it.
The art festival offered a variety of programming, including a live bench carving,
can see the beginning of it, but basically I've roughed it out now with my big saw, but it's going to be a lobster on both ends, basically holding the bench with his claws. Some people pretty much see it right away and they're like, oh, I see what it is totally, and other people are like, what is it?
Local artists say the Sidewalk Art Festival gives them a chance to showcase their passions.
It's amazing to be able to put your art out there and kind of be seen and show all your hard work that you put in, especially in those like spring and winter months when you're just working alone in your studio or crafting by yourself.
Artists do it not for money. It's for fun. It's what I enjoy in my spare time. It's relaxing, and I really gives me a creative freedom.
For more information on events in downtown Bangor, visit our website at foxbangor.com. In Bangor, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
I was watching on social media, some people were picking up some nice pieces of art too at really reasonable prices. So good way for the local artists to connect with some new customers.
Well, I think it's a great way to support your community and to support artists instead of maybe going to a store where they en masse screen print a bunch of art. Go support a local artist.
Yeah, you get some unique things that way.
Right. Yeah. All right, the time now is 8:21. After the break, Hurricane Beryl has strengthened into a Category 1 storm. This as it makes its way to the Texas coast.
We'll tell you all about it, plus your full local weather forecast coming up on Good Morning Maine.
If you've been injured and think you can't afford a lawyer, think again.
Lowry and Associates can be your lawyers, and there's no fee unless they win money for you.
We don't get paid unless you get paid. We call it the Lowry Guarantee.
You got nothing to lose. Just call the twos. They win or it's free. That's the Lowry Guarantee.
Lowry and Associates settled my case for $300,000.
Call the twos. We win for you.
If you're hurt in an accident, what do you do? Call 222-2222.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
Hood is the cottage cheese lovers love. Start with our award-winning country style. It's delicious on its own, or like this. That. Even, sure. Plus, it's got more protein than hummus and less sugar than yogurt. Then there's Hood's flavors. We expertly blend in real fruit or savory herbs for an unbeatable taste combination you can't recreate at home. Now that's cottage cheese. Hood cottage cheese. Always good, always Hood.
You're gonna love this.
Buckle up, big boy.
Only 3 out of 10 Americans got this question right.
Release the ball!
This is MasterChef Generations.
The more worried you are, the happier I am.
So far, our contestants have won over $10 million.
I love this show! That's what I want to hear.
Beryl strengthened once again to a Category 1 hurricane, marching towards the Texas coast.
Residents on edge as the storm's strength and sustained winds continue to grow ahead of making landfall this morning. ABC's M. Wynn is tracking it all from Washington.
Overnight, Storm Beryl re-intensifying into a Category 1 hurricane before making landfall over South Texas. Residents bracing for torrential rain and damaging winds.
It will be a deadly storm for people who are directly in that path.
Beryl's sustained winds increasing to 80 miles per hour. Storm surge warnings in effect with up to 7 feet of surge possible over regular tide levels.
I always take it seriously. We live along the coast.
Some residents urged to get out as others hunker down, boarding up their homes and businesses.
Just boarding up, protecting this glass in case we get a little bit too much wind.
Experts say Beryl's explosive growth into an unprecedented storm so early in the season was fueled by the Atlantic's record warmth. The storm passing through the Caribbean days ago on its way to Texas, causing at least 11 deaths, ripping off roofs and destroying buildings, many still reeling from the devastation.
You found that other essential services is critical at this point in time.
Everything was just flying all over the place. You're looking at a tank full of water, and this thing is lift that up and have it swollen in the air. I've never seen anything like this in my life.
Beryl expected to bring 15 inches of rain across parts of Texas, many wary of power outages and downed trees. Remnants of the storm also set to impact the nation's heartland later this week with flooding and possible twisters. Em Nguyen, ABC News, Washington.
Quite a scene from the Caribbean.
Yeah.
All right, the time now is 8:26.
Let's get a full look at our weather forecast.
And our main weather this morning is brought to you by SR1 Companies. Visit SR1 in Herman, Turner, Manchester, and Orono for the best prices on trailers, campers, tractors, heavy equipment, and more. SR1 Companies, where New England's largest selection meets unbeatable prices. All right, let's get right into that. We got some significant weather to talk about, starting out by Hurricane Category 1, Beryl, making its way into Texas. It's about to make landfall pretty much at the moment. So please, if you do have family out there, make sure they are doing okay and they hopefully prepared for what is still to come, and that is a lot of rain and still some gusty winds. Now, Category 1, that's going to continue to move north as it does. It's going to become a tropical storm, tropical depression very quickly, especially in the next 24 hours as it stays on land. It's not going to get that fuel to keep it going. Now, all over the U.S., though, pretty active weather pattern. The Midwest, upper Midwest, they've seen so much rain, almost three times as much rainfall as they should be getting the last 3 months, where Mississippi River is flooded right by Illinois, and it continues to go south, and more rain is going to continue to make those levels higher and higher in those rivers. Now, for us, though, going to be dealing with our own active weather pattern the next several days besides today. Today is going to be that day where we're really going to see just lots of sunshine. It is really going to be hot, folks, so please make sure you have your sunscreen, drink your water as well. Now, look at all this rain. This is just within the next 5 to 6 days. Some places, possibly around 4 inches of rain. So a lot of rainfall, mainly the southern half of the state, the northern half of the state. We're going to see a lot less rain, especially with Beryl. It has to go somewhere, right? And it does look like it's going to make its way closer to our area, the Northeast, maybe by the end of this week. We'll see how things go. But by then, it's just going to be a low pressure system. Now, temperature-wise, we should be at 80 degrees. We're going to be well above average the next few days, slightly below average on Thursday, and then right back up to well above average temperatures back in those mid to upper 80s, and that's going to happen Friday, Saturday into Sunday. For today, though, mostly sunny. It's going to be hot. Temperatures around 88 degrees. For tonight, though, mid 60s, partly cloudy skies, a little bit of patchy fog will be in the area as well. For tomorrow, mid to upper 80s. Afternoon, chances of showers and thunderstorms. Our extended forecast outlook is showing rain starting Tuesday into Wednesday, still falling Thursday into Friday.
Protect your vehicle from rusting away with Bell's Automotive Protection. We are the leader in mobile undercoating and rust proofing in Maine. We'll travel right to your driveway using the best and safest products on the market. This is much safer than rubberized coatings that can cause damage later on. We spray all types of vehicles, including commercial fleets. We all know vehicles aren't cheap anymore. Don't let the harsh winter chemicals eat them away. Call us or visit our page for a free quote. 207-659-3805.
Are your gutters weighed down by debris causing them to sag and overflow? I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems. Clogged gutters lead to costly repairs for your home. So skip the cleaning and stop the clogs with Gutter Shutter. Gutter Shutter, the world's best gutter, is a high-performance gutter with a lifetime no-clog guarantee. Stop the clutter, get Gutter Shutter. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems today for all things basementy.
Okay, ideas, where are we going?
I got one.
What about a comedy show?
I've seen you, I've swiped on you. No. Okay?
Tacos.
Definitely tacos.
You could get the all-new, all-wheel drive Camry Hybrid with 5.25 for $60, plus get 2 years no-cost maintenance. Find your vibe in the all-new, all-hybrid Camry. Toyota, let's go places.
It's the marvelous.
You always carry that much cash around? Do you think there's just boobs in this bra?
The Mawsome.
You tell lies, you gamble, and yet you never seem to pay a price for any of it.
When you're cute like me, rules are just a little different.
The Maw-inspiring.
Yes! I think I'm gonna wet myself.
Meemaw.
That's what Meemaw would say. Aren't you just a spoonful of sugar?
Young Sheldon.
Weekdays at 4 on Fox 22.
This morning, more Democrats are calling for President Joe Biden to step aside and withdraw from the presidential race. Now, at least 4 senior Democrats in Congress are publicly calling on the president to quit. This morning, lawmakers are returning from their long 4th of July holiday as more Democrats raise concerns about President Biden's candidacy. In the House, several top Democrats are now privately saying Biden should withdraw from the race. 5 other Democrats in Congress have also publicly called for Biden to drop out. The pressure comes after the president's debate performance, along with his interview Friday with George Stephanopoulos.
Most vending machines sell candy or soda, but one with a very targeted product, and that's powered by AI, is making headlines in the South. A grocery store in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, is the first to remove a kiosk that sells ammunition, as the city council considered the vending machine's legality. The vending machine is made by American Rounds, which says it uses artificial intelligence and facial recognition technology to match buyers of the ammo with their ID cards. The company says the novel way of selling ammo for shotguns, pistols, and rifles will reduce theft and increase safety. A manager at the Tuscaloosa store that removed the machine says it was not because of the city council meeting, but because of a lack of sales. The city has since verified that the vending machines are legal, and while many are enthusiastic about the kiosks, critics are taking them online. Seems like 2 controversial issues, AI and the accessibility of ammunition and firearms in one machine.
Yeah, kind of interesting. Might as well sell cigarettes and alcohol in there too.
Those exist.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
they do.
Maybe not alcohol, but cigarette vending machines. I've seen that before.
Yeah, back in the day anyway. I don't know if they still have them, but
I don't think I've seen them in the States. I take it back.
My dad used to, hear some quarters, go down and get me a pack of smokes.
No, I have
pull the
heard
little
that.
thing, so.
Yes.
Anyway.
A different time.
Different time.
Okay, well, I don't think quarters will buy a few rounds, though.
Quarters won't buy much of anything anymore.
Okay. Coming up on the second half of the newscast, similarly, we'll talk about firearms safety with a local company that teaches about responsible gun ownership.
That and more ahead on Good Morning Maine.
When it comes to automotive and heavy equipment repair, trust the experts at CTI Service Center, located in Old Town and Milford. CTI offers heavy-duty part sales at our Old Town location, as well as on-the-road service with our heavy-duty mobile units. CTI also offers tire sales, including mount and spin balance, as well as Old Town's only heavy-duty alignment system. CTI Service Center diagnoses issues swiftly and accurately. For reliable service and peace of mind, give us a call or visit us online at ctiservicecenter.com. CTI Service Center, simply the best.
Name a place you love being naked.
Does Steve sing her a song? Get super shy. Pull out flowers.
Can't you look at me?
No, ma'am. I don't want to make eye contact with you. Only reason I'm asking you this because it's on the card.
Steve, you would have asked me that in your younger days.
Family Feud, the only choice.
Weeknights at 7 on Fox 22. You're watching Fox 22 Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is Monday, July 8th, 2024, and it is also National Video Game Day.
This is a day to dust off that old Nintendo and haul your prized collection of video games from the closet. Video games have exploded with popularity over the past few decades, and they're not just for kids. They're a great way to blow off steam and take a break from reality. And with over 5 million games in existence, there's really something for everyone, no matter if you're PC or Xbox or PlayStation or Switch. There's all sorts of ways to play video games. You can play them on the go.
And you can do anything with them too. Everything from like really realistic modern warfare stuff to basic things like cleaning your house. You know, they do. They have like a video game for like cleaning your house or grocery shopping or something.
That's been a trend lately. I will get sucked into watching TikToks of people cleaning. So I don't know. We are a distraction-based society, I suppose. We need a little distraction from the world around us.
It's an entertaining. You can break away from your normal life. You might be having a bad day or something. Go blow off some steam and then get back to it.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. All right, time for some history. It was on this day in history back in 1777, the state of Vermont adopted its constitution and became the very first to abolish slavery. In 1865, 4 of the co-conspirators in President Abraham Lincoln's assassination were hanged in Washington. And in 1889, the Wall Street Journal issued its very first newspaper and has been printing now without an interruption ever since. And in 1947, a flying saucer crash at Roswell, New Mexico was broadcast to the public. The first reports were denied by the U.S. military, and then a report appeared saying that they had been lucky enough to obtain one of those discs. The debate whether an alien spacecraft actually landed in Roswell continues to this day, with many believing that it was a government cover-up.
Roswell, New Mexico is definitely on my bucket list for road trip destinations.
Yeah, they still make a big thing. They have like a Alien Day, a special celebration or something like that.
That sounds super fun.
So,
regardless of, it's a whole conversation of if you want to talk about the truth of that stuff. But just as a tourist to go visit that type of thing, I think it's super fun.
Kind of neat.
Yeah. In 1960, U.S. pilot Gary Powers was shot down while flying a U-2 spy plane over the Soviet Union. He was found guilty of espionage, but was later exchanged for a Soviet spy in American custody. In 1969, the U.S. Patent Office issued a patent for the game Twister. In 1995, the Sega Saturn video game console was released in Europe following its massive success in Japan and North America. And in 2000, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire was released for the first time on both sides of the Atlantic. And in 2011, the space shuttle Atlantis launched its final mission, wrapping up the 30-year-long space shuttle program. It was the program's 135th and final flight.
You can still check out some of those shuttles at various museums around the country.
Love that.
Including outside Washington, D.C. I think it was in Denver I saw one time. You don't realize how big they are until you're right up close to them,
I have some family photos. That's on my bucket list for road trips as well.
It's worth the trip.
Yeah.
All right, today's birthdays include actor Kevin Bacon, who is 66 years old today. Chef Wolfgang Puck is 75. And musician Beck turns 54 years old today. So happy birthday to all of them.
A musician, a chef, and an actor.
There
all
you
different
go.
professions.
Got
Very
a full
cool.
evening right there.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Happy birthday to them. Looks like a lovely day here in Maine.
Going to be a delightful summer day out there. So get out and enjoy.
Absolutely. Here's Conrad Sapinski with that forecast.
All right, our first weather this morning is brought to you by SR1 Companies. Visit SR1 in Herman, Turner, Manchester, and Orono for the best prices on trailers, campers, tractors, heavy equipment, and more. SR1 Companies, where New England's largest selection meets unbeatable prices. Wow, a pretty good start to the day out there. And hopefully folks had a wonderful 4th of July weekend. We did see temperatures for the most part back in the 80s, and it just felt nice and pleasant for today. Get ready, an abundant amount of sunshine will be back in the forecast. I feel pretty comfortable as well. And then dew points will start to rise by Wednesday morning, especially by Friday morning. Look at that. We are going to see dew points a little bit higher up, pretty much at that very humid level. So for that one day, it's going to feel extremely humid, of course, with some rain showers in the area. And we're talking a lot of rain on the way as well. But that's going to be after today. Now the wind's pretty calm. A couple of spots are maybe around a 5-mile-per-hour breeze. Other than that, everywhere else we're seeing a calm wind, and we will continue to see just a light breeze throughout the day today. Now it's going to be hot and sunny. Perfect combination for a very high UV index, and that's going to be at a 9. So please be careful out there, stay protected, put on your sunscreen, and of course, drink your water. For today, though, mostly sunny out there. It's going to be hot. Temperatures around 88 degrees. For tonight, though, partly cloudy, some fog in the area once again. Temperatures back in those mid-60s. Now, for tomorrow, though, mid to upper 80s. Afternoon chances of showers and even a couple of thunderstorms embedded in there as well. Now, hour-by-hour forecast is showing that big warm-up on the way later on today.
Thank you, Conrad. Well, guns are deeply ingrained into American culture and are often a focal point in political debates. According to the Pew Research Center, personal protection tops the list of reasons that gun owners give for why they own a firearm. I met with a local firearms training company to learn the major tenets of gun safety. Maine is a constitutional carry state, which means that any Maine resident over the age of 21 who's not otherwise prohibited from owning or being in possession of a firearm is authorized to carry a concealed handgun without a permit.
But when you look at concealed carry and defensive training, you need to seek education in that specific department.
That was Ralph Perkins, the owner of 207 Firearms Training in Lincoln, who left the military in 2012.
Some combat veteran, I bring that experience from service over in Afghanistan to my classes.
He says if you're a beginner and you want to learn how to shoot, there's a lot of room for mistakes.
I think a common mistake made is just people getting into it without seeking knowledge of it first. Like they go in with a basic hunter safety course, which is a great place to start for firearm safety.
According to the CDC, in 2020, there were approximately 27,000 unintentional firearm injuries and 500 unintentional firearm deaths. And Perkins says most unintentional discharges result from violations of certain rules.
The 4 universal safety rules are pretty simple. Rule number 1 is treat all firearms as if they are loaded, right? Rule number 2, don't point the firearm at anything you don't intend to destroy. Rule number 3, keep your finger off the trigger. And rule number 4 is know your target and what's beyond it.
To learn more about 207 Firearms Training, head to their website at 207firearmstraining.us. It's always a conversation to be had about how do we make this culture of firearms safer. It's always a political discussion, and just for the sake of numbers, I said about in 2021, excuse me, about 500 people were killed by unintentional firearms deaths. That's in the whole nation. In Maine, there were 2 people that died in 2021, and that was out of about 178 fatalities because of firearms. So this does represent a small fraction of who's being killed because of just accidents.
People are pretty careful with them, but it only takes that one moment to.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's interesting and always a conversation to be had because it's so prominent. All right, and right after the break, Ryan Sudal has our sports updates.
Don't go away.
If you've been injured and think you can't afford a lawyer, think again.
We don't get paid unless you get paid. We call it the Lowry Guarantee.
They win or it's free. That's the Lowry Guarantee.
If you're looking to buy or sell a home, chances are you have a lot of questions. Norm Prouty has answers. Learn some tips and tricks and explore some beautiful new homes on the market. The Norm Prouty and Donnell Baker Real Estate Show, Sunday mornings at 8:30 on Fox 22.
We're lucky to live in Maine. We have a wealth of natural resources, hardworking people, and time for the things that matter. Mechanical Services is all about Maine, with energy efficiency that protects our environment and helps businesses grow. Preventive maintenance and energy solutions that save money. How Maine is that? Mechanical Services. We're everywhere you are in Maine.
A new deck is a great, affordable way to improve your home or camp. Hammond Lumber Company can help you create the perfect deck for your outdoor space. Visit Hammond's product showroom and explore their extensive range of decking and railing options. Your Hammond sales rep will be happy to help you with your materials and design choices, and Hammond delivers from any of their 22 locations across Maine and New Hampshire. Make this the year you enjoy that new deck you've always wanted. It starts when you bring your vision to Hammond Lumber Company.
If you've been injured in an accident, get Maine's most recognized personal injury law firm working for you today. The law offices of Joe Bornstein, fighting and winning for injured Mainers for nearly 50 years. Selected best lawyers in America for personal injury. Recognized for professional excellence. With more than $500 million collected for injured Mainers and over 25,000 victories for Maine families. Call Joe for a free case evaluation and get the Bornstein Advantage.
Fox Tonight, it's not about what you know.
How many total noodles are there?
It's how you think.
Do not feel ashamed. You're as stupid as I am.
The 1% Club, all new tonight on Fox.
Hey everybody, Ryan Sudol here. Thank you so much for joining us. Dirt biking is a hard to get into sport, largely because of the lack of safe while affordable places to ride. Well, one couple in Waltham is changing that. Take a look.
It's awesome. I mean, it's hard nowadays to find places to ride.
Thankfully for dirt bike aficionados, Waltham's Bill McDonald and Katie Yulee have them covered with their own track in their backyard.
Just something we absolutely love to do. We love watching our friends riding around the track, having fun, and seeing the smiles on their faces.
It started with Yulee's son's love of dirt bikes. To help him practice, Yulee and McDonald built a small track. As interest from others grew, they felt the track needed to as well.
I love doing landscaping stuff, so I thought my landscaping talent would come in handy while out there in the woods raking and pulling rocks to make it a nice rideable track for everyone.
But even then, it wasn't a centerpiece.
It was really just more intention, having some friends over, having a barbecue and having a good time, and hey, we got a track, let's ride the track. And one of my friends to me, it'd be really cool if we had a race.
Now, 7 years later, the track hosts races across summer and fall, while also providing practice time for anyone who wants it.
Just have some people that constantly are like, come on out and come ride at our place. It's awesome. It really can't get much better than that.
And people of all skill levels come out too, even those that have never even touched a bike. They often leave with a new passion.
Helping someone else find something they enjoy to do, that's really important to me, especially fathers that ride with their boys. A grin on their faces ear to ear.
Not only do people leave with a newfound love of riding, but also with friends, which help them fill voids both on and off the track.
Can't tell you how many people I've met through here. It's too many to count. The more people you have, it pushes you really to the next level, and you can do cooler and cooler things with the bikes. It's really fun.
So, how much does it cost to be in a race or just ride around? Nothing. Absolutely free.
We want others to enjoy what we enjoy doing as well, and we don't feel that money needs to be involved.
That's absolutely critical. I don't think money should get in the way of having a good time. It's been a labor of love for us, so the payment for us is seeing others get the enjoyment of the work that we've put in.
Just awesome stuff right there. Let's hit the links now. We've been doing that a lot lately. Saturday morning up at Hidden Meadows Golf Course was the Old Town Orono Hockey Golf Scramble. The annual charity tournament benefits the Old Town Orono Black Bear High School program. This is the 11th edition, and this year they raised nearly $5,000. That's going towards transportation, ice time at rinks, equipment, summer hockey costs, and more. 19 local businesses sponsored holes, and 19 out of a possible 20 teams competed. Of course, this all coming on a holiday weekend. The community certainly loves the program.
It is the 4th of July weekend, so to have 19 out of 20 teams show up and fill it out, that really is good for Old Town and Orono hockey. We appreciate it.
I mean, it means a lot. We're locally supported, so that just shows how people like the hockey programs.
All right, now to the wrestling mat. Friday night marking the last night of the Maine-Nebraska Wrestling Exchange down in Noble, but the fun is not stopping there. In a few weeks, it's the girls' turn. For the first time ever, there will be a girls' Maine-Nebraska High School Wrestling Exchange. A Maine All-Star team will be heading to the Cornhusker State to face two of their All-Star teams in two duels, the first being on the 26th. The top mission, though, continues to be introducing wrestlers to new cultures and new people. Co-director Brian Cody hopes that this and more will come from the girls' first trip.
Giving these girls every opportunity that we can that the boys have in this sport, that's what it's about. Our guys that have gone out on that trip still have friends that they talk to today. 40 years have gone by with this thing. So, I hope the girls can continue to grow and we can support that same kind of friendship series for another 40 years for them.
What a year it's been for girls wrestling in Maine. The first ever team state tournament in February. Oceanside's Maddie Ripley, who will be going to Nebraska, winning overall states for the second straight year, and now this. What Cody hopes Maine girls see from these accomplishments is that wrestling is for everybody.
Male, female, small, short, tall, it don't matter. Like, you can get on the mat and you can wrestle and you can make an impact in your own life, make an impact in your teammates. I'm hoping that the Maine-Nebraska exchange is just one more little piece that gets girls interested in coming out and trying what I believe is the greatest sport.
Okay, that's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
On the Road, broadcasting the news at 6, live from Brewer, is sponsored by Harvey RV and Marine, premier dealership with vast RV and boat selections, top-notch service, and expert guidance. Maple Lane Farms in Charleston. We have the freshest meat in all of Penobscot County. We're worth the drive. And Parody Shop and Save in Brewer, now under new management. Stop by and see us at 397 North Main Street. Hey Red Sox fans, you've got to play You Pick'em Red Sox at foxbangor.com. Local weekly winners receive prizes from Chase's Family Restaurant and Hideaway Lounge or from Chick-fil-A. Register now at foxbangor.com. You Pick'em Red Sox is sponsored by Blind Faith Tattoo, Bangor, K&M Auto, Holden, Old Town Redemption Center, and Twin City Tile Brewer.
She's the apple of his eye.
Ta-da! What do you think?
You look beautiful. And you're grounded.
She may be a tomboy,
You're so lucky you get to be in junior G.I. Joes. And you're lucky I don't want to get blood on my uniform.
but she's still daddy's little girl.
Sit down, I want to talk to you for a minute.
This isn't a sex talk, is it? Because I already know more than I'd like to.
Learn all about Eve
Am I supposed to understand what you mean by that?
on Last Man Standing.
Weekdays at 3 on Fox 22.
The day after the 4th of July celebrations wrapped up, well, they offered some nice beach weather, but with that comes the big crowds and the potential for lots of trash left behind.
Mal Meyer reports from Old Orchard Beach, where crews were busy chipping in to pick it up.
July 5th is considered the dirtiest beach day of the year. That's because of the 4th of July fireworks and festivities that draw big crowds. It doesn't take much to find an awful lot.
Last year we had 4 volunteers. We picked up about 500 pounds of trash in 2 hours.
Town crews take away what they can, but that's no match for what gets left behind.
They come down each morning and they clean up what they can, but there's so much kind of under the surface of the sand.
This volunteer effort was organized through the Surfrider Foundation, a national group. It found about half of what they gather all year is picked up on July 5th.
I like to give back to my community, and the environment is important, and this is a good opportunity to do both things at the same time.
It's really important to keep our oceans clean.
Lisa Derek Druck has helped with similar efforts elsewhere. She's seen bits of trash around, but doesn't think it's intentional.
I have friends who are down in Ocean Park, and so I spend a lot of time on this stretch of beach myself for pleasure.
Paula Slayton says they grab a lot of straws, wrappers, plastic silverware, or containers in cigarette butts.
85% of what we find on the beach is single-use plastic.
She says cutting back on that and making sure you're carrying out what you're bringing to the beach can make a big difference. The town is going to haul away what they found.
Mal Meyer reporting.
Clean up after yourself, folks.
Yeah.
Gosh. Okay, here's meteorologist Conrad Sapinski with our full weather forecast.
And our main weather this morning is brought to you by SR1 Companies. Visit SR1 in Herman, Turner, Manchester, and Orono for the best prices on trailers, campers, tractors, heavy equipment, and more. SR1 Companies, where New England's largest selection meets unbeatable prices. All right, let's get right into that. We got some significant weather to talk about, starting out by Hurricane Category 1, Beryl, making its way into Texas. It's about to make landfall pretty much at the moment. So please, if you do have family out there, make sure they are doing okay and they hopefully prepared for what is still to come, and that is a lot of rain and still some gusty winds. Now, Category 1, that's going to continue to move north. As it does, it's going to become a tropical storm, tropical depression very quickly, especially in the next 24 hours. As it stays on land, it's not going to get that fuel to keep it going. Now, all over the U.S., though, pretty active weather pattern. The Midwest, upper Midwest, they've seen so much rain, almost three times as much rainfall as they should be getting the last 3 months, where Mississippi River is flooded right by Illinois, and it continues to go south, and more rain is going to continue to make those levels higher and higher in those rivers. Now, for us, though, we're going to be dealing with our own active weather pattern the next several days besides today. Today is going to be that day where we're really going to see just lots of sunshine. It is really going to be hot, folks, so please make sure you have your sunscreen, drink your water as well. Now, look at all this rain. This is just within the next 5 to 6 days. Some places, possibly around 4 inches of rain. So a lot of rainfall, mainly the southern half of the state, the northern half of the state. We're going to see a lot less rain, especially with Beryl. It has to go somewhere, right? And it does look like it's going to make its way closer to our area, the northeast, maybe by the end of this week. We'll see how things go. But by then, it's just going to be a low pressure system. Now, temperature-wise, we should be at 80 degrees. We're going to be well above average the next few days, slightly below average on Thursday, and then right back up to well above average temperatures back in those mid to upper 80s, and that's going to happen Friday, Saturday into Sunday. For today, though, mostly sunny. It's going to be hot. Temperatures around 88 degrees. For tonight, though, mid 60s, partly cloudy skies, a little bit of patchy fog will be in the area as well. For tomorrow, mid to upper 80s. Afternoon, chances of showers and thunderstorms. Our extended forecast outlook is showing rain starting Tuesday into Wednesday, still falling Thursday into Friday.
Lowe's knows July 4th projects come with questions.
So we have answers.
Like how to keep your yard looking lush and which paint color matches your bold style. So hurry in for 4th of July deals at Lowe's. You got this, and we got you.
Summer savings going on now at the Furniture Gallery. Take advantage of hot buys in all departments. Queen mattresses starting at just $198. Recliners starting at $298. Sofas starting at $398. 5-piece dining sets $498. Sleeper sofas starting at $598, and clearance items up to 60% off while they last. At the Furniture Gallery, special financing is available. The best value for your money is always at the Furniture Gallery in Augusta, Bangor, Newport, and North Windham.
When My Mechanic Company wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. My Mechanic Company, located in Carmel, is your go-to for auto repair. Whether you need brakes, tires, diagnostics, or a state inspection, My Mechanic has you covered. Come see why My Mechanic should be your mechanic.
Dine on the deck with a delicious view at the Lucerne Inn and Ryan's Pub. Experience outdoor dining at its finest. Open Tuesday through Sunday with award-winning dishes from their executive chef, Arturo Montes. Dining on the deck at Ryan's Pub is an unforgettable culinary experience you'll want to share with your family and friends. We are pet-friendly, so your furry friends are always welcome to join you at your table. Your next visit to the Lucerne Inn will feel like the first, all over again.
I'm sweating.
This summer.
Welcome to 25 Words or Less.
The celebrities.
First time you two have met each other.
Yes, I have to say I'm a huge fan.
Thank you. I didn't recognize you, but...
Are throwing shade.
You've been great against each other. You've become closer friends.
Yes, a lot has transpired. But just know, when we leave here, I will block Melissa's number.
5 days a week.
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22.
Well, you never know what kind of wildlife you'll see when you're a passenger on the Penobscot boat tours. This Independence Day, guests were treated to a special sight. As Captain Jeff approached the Penobscot Bay just off of Verona Island, The entire group witnessed a large whale breaching the water. As you can see from these pictures, they got a pretty great show. After the whale finished performing, the boat tour continued, but what a memory for all that got to see this magical event.
Wow, that's pretty neat. You don't usually see those kind of things this close to the coast, too.
Right.
Close to shore, anyway.
I wonder what drove them so close to shore.
Around that same time during the day, there was one reported off the docks down in Castine. I wonder if it might have been the same whale or something, because that's not too far from Verona.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
I did hear chatter about that yesterday. I was at Wadsworth Cove, that cove area in Castine, which is a lovely beach.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have just outed my beach spot. Oh, gosh.
I hate to tell you, everybody knows where it is anyway, especially this time of year. Yeah.
Okay, no. Some people didn't know.
Go down the back shore. Is that the back shore in Castine?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Have a great day, everyone.
Go to the beach.
Today on 25 Words or Less, a man whose last name is as hard to spell as he is to watch. It's Dan Bucketin's